Transgender men have been coming here for years. Okay, this is Dorm 1.
Willis Miller is Assistant Director at Samaritan Ministries.
We have a few beds in here.
That includes overseeing the 80-bed homeless shelter for men. Miller says he first met a transgender man one evening in 2004.
I remember he started crying, and I said, "What's the problem?" And he said he would start talking about how people looked at him and treated him. And I'd assured him, if it happens here, please let me know. You know, I'm running this shelter, and I want everyone to be safe in here. And that means you too.
In a year, an average of 1,600 people use Winston-Salem and Forsyth County's 8 homeless shelters. Of these, 6 receive federal funding from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. But recently, HUD issued a new rule to close what it calls a gap in ensuring all people who show up at a shelter get the help they need.
The new HUD rule means in general that transgender individuals, transgender women and men can gain access into shelters that are HUD funded. And these individuals are supposed to be admitted into this facility by their gender identity,
as opposed to their birth gender, according to Briceño. A big challenge for shelters that cater to one sex, like Samaritan Ministries, they tend to have dorm-style bathrooms. So to help transgender guests at Samaritan Ministries feel more comfortable, Miller says they can use the bathroom reserved for volunteers, as well as using the volunteer sleeping quarters. The city of Winston-Salem distributes HUD funds to these homeless shelters and monitors them to ensure each one is in full compliance to all HUD rules. But if while trying to gain access to one of these shelters, a person believes they're being mistreated, then the city's Human Relations Department will take action.
If there is any complaints about a transgender individual or any other individual not being admitted into these temporary housing facilities, which are shelters for homeless, they could potentially file a complaint with us, and we will have to investigate the complaint as in any other fair housing complaint that we receive.
So what's fascinating to me is
social justice advocate Reverend Liam Hooper teaches staff at homeless shelters techniques to make transgender men and women feel welcomed and safe. Reverend Hooper is also a transgender man and recommends
remove wherever possible pronouns from your vocabulary and begin to speak to people as persons. Use their names. Just directly say, "How can I help you?"
This is where they address we help.
He also urges all shelters to develop and to post a no-tolerance policy for any kind of gender discrimination. And Reverend Hooper stresses, celebrating diversity and giving mutual respect goes a long way.
Anything that we can do to set a culture where we value particularity, where we value personhood, and we treat people with dignity and regard for one another, then we change the culture a little bit at a time. And when we do that, people know they're safe.
If you believe your housing rights are or have been violated, contact the City of Winston-Salem's Human Relations Department at 336-734-1227. Catherine Mobley, WSTV Digital Media.